All right, listen up, legends, right? If you've been struggling to get lean and drop fat, or build muscle, or just improve the way your body looks consistently, or you just feel like you've been spinning your wheels, right? I'm opening up 5 spots for something I call a metabolic assessment, right? And this is going to be free for the first 5 people. And this is a chance to figure out exactly where you're going wrong, where you're falling down. And then ultimately, I'll pinpoint the key things that you're doing wrong and give you a simple plan to fix it so you can hit the ground running in 2025. Now, here's the deal, right? I only can give it to a handful of people, of course, right? So I need to make sure it's done properly. So 5 people, that's it. If you want in, just click the link beneath in the show notes, beneath the video or in the show notes, if you listen to the podcast and fill out the form. First 5 people get it. So do it quickly. Don't mess around. So anyway, stop guessing, by the way, my friend. That's what you need to do. You need to stop guessing in 2025 and start getting some real results. Let's make this your best year yet. And speaking of real results, today I wanted to give you the truth and cut through all the bullshit like I always do and give you the truth about fat loss, about sustainable fat loss, and how you can build a foundation where you're going to turn your body into a fat burning machine. Because what you're going to look at is this time of year, as we know, it's the same old bullshit, right? People hit the ground running. They treat it like a sprint, getting in shape like a sprint instead of a marathon. They think that they've gone from eating garbage. I'm not saying this is everyone listening, but, I've just like hit the off button over Christmas and then I'm just going to get back to it in January. And then over 90% of people in general, they actually gain all the weight back they lost within 1 year. And actually, it's worse than that. 5 pounds of fat the average person gains each year, right? I'm not saying everyone listening to this is the average person. I know a lot of you are already at a good level, but even if it's not weight loss, this is going to be relevant and really valuable to you anyway, because most people, having coached so many people, it's the all or nothing mentality, right? So they're not consistent through all seasons. Ask yourself this question now, my friend, before we get into this. When was the last time you were consistent for a whole year through all seasons? Now, a lot of you might answer, never. Right. And that's okay, because a lot of people answer that. Or some of you might say, it's been a while. It's been a good few years. Some of you might be bang on. You might be consistent all year round, year in, year out. Congratulations, right? But that's not most people. So what you're going to look at is there's 5 fundamental habits. There's a lot more, right? But I'm going to break down 5 fundamental habits, which will definitely destroy your fat loss goals and they will make you fatter in 2025. You can pretty much guarantee this. But again, even if your goal is not necessarily weight loss, these fundamental habits that I've actually cemented in and I actually get clients to focus on. Now, it does depend on the person in terms of when we focus on these habits. But look, you want to listen up, because the bottom line is fad diets, unsustainable routines, they're rife. And especially when you go into the new year, right? It's crazy how, I'm just going to say how it is, how stupid people are, right? That they think they can just change more than 1 or 2 behaviors at a time. And it doesn't happen like that, right? Like with me, where I'm at now, I'm in the shape of my life all year round. I'm in incredible shape. That's because I put a lot of time and effort in. Whether you're building the body or building the business, you got to put years upon years of compound effort in. And it's not rocket science. It's cementing in one habit, turning one behavior into a habit at a time. So just quick thing before I get into these 5 destructive habits, focus on that this year and just in general, right? Pick 1, maybe 2 behaviors maximum and keep sticking at those behaviors until they turn into a permanent habit, right? For example, like I've said before, drinking an extra glass of water a day, that might happen faster, right? That might happen, you can cement that in pretty quick, right? Generally. And you'll notice you feel better when you do that as well, especially if you do that in the morning before you reach for a coffee, like I've said before. The other thing is, let's say you're looking to go to the gym, right? And you're looking to, because the bottom line is when we look at consistency as well, ladies and gents, whilst we're on this topic, go into the gym first thing in the morning. So it's the first decision you make is going to keep most people more consistent. I've seen the same patterns. It leaves less to chance. You feel better for the rest of the day. But I had a client, I've mentioned it before, there's a few clients, but she started training at like 5 a.m. This year. And she's been so much more consistent because of that, because it doesn't leave it a chance. It doesn't wait till you get to the end of the day and you're tired and then you make excuses or you get caught up working. And even I go first thing in the morning, right? But that kind of behavior, for example, going to the gym first thing, take a bit longer generally to cement into a habit. It'll take you a number of months. So that needs to be your mindset going into this year. Don't get caught up on all this quick fix fucking diet bullshit, right? Please don't do it to yourself. You can't cut corners. You are lying to yourself if you think you can just pick a diet and that's the answer. It does not work like that. Anyway, rant over. Let's get into the habits, my friend, that I wanted to talk about, right? And you can guarantee if you implement these habits, you'll get fatter and unhealthier and you'll never reach your full potential with your body. I'm sorry to be all doom and gloom, ladies and gents, but I'm a no BS shoot from the hip kind of guy. So the first one is having high carbs for breakfast, right? I'm going to reframe that. Having no protein pretty much for breakfast. This is the biggest struggle for most people. Now, most people will actually have generally like a moderate amount of protein for lunch, and they'll have a high amount for dinner generally, but they'll have a low amount for breakfast, if any, right? They're going to be reaching for something convenient, or hell, they might be too busy to actually have breakfast, and then they get to lunch and they're starving and they're just eating everything in sight, right? But when you have sugar, for example, when you have like, I don't know, even bread or cereal or stuff like that for breakfast, just giving some examples here, with no meat or not even a protein shake with protein powder, right? Or eggs, right? You're having that's going to stimulate appetite. It's going to spike your blood sugar levels, and it's going to stimulate hunger, right? And you will not win if you're eating that for breakfast, because your body will then be craving sugar and carbohydrates generally just day in and day out, right? It sets you up on the wrong foot. What completely changes your whole relationship with food, it changes your energy levels. It, gives you more sustained energy. It blunts your appetite, is having, for example, something you would have for dinner for breakfast, like meat and vegetables, for example, or just meat and eggs, okay? Or, even a shake works, right? Like whey protein powder. I'll have that sometimes for my first meal when I'm in a rush. I don't eat until like late morning anyway, but after I've trained, if I haven't, I'm busy on calls or whatever, I'll have a shake instead of my usual like meat and eggs and stuff. And I'll have whey protein. I'll blend up some frozen berries because they're high in fiber, low in sugar. I'll add half an avocado as well. Yes, it's calorie dense, but it's 80% fat, right? And avocado is the only fruit which is like primarily fat. Mix that together, boom, have that, and I'm good to go for a few hours. You know what I mean? So that's another example. It doesn't have to be complicated, but if you're having carbohydrates or you're having processed foods and you're not eating, let's just say at least a bare minimum of 25 grams of protein for breakfast. And 25 grams of protein, if you look at eggs, for example, there's only 6 grams in an egg of protein. So you'd have to have 6 eggs to hit that target, you know what I mean? But you can have egg whites as well. So you could have 3 whole eggs, and the protein in an egg is mainly from the egg white, right? It's 4 grams of protein. But they're all just examples, but you can guarantee you'll set yourself up to failure. This is the biggest problem people make, is they don't have meat for breakfast, or they don't have a high protein breakfast, or they skip breakfast because they're doing intermittent fasting. But if you're telling everyone you're doing intermittent fasting and you're getting fatter, you're doing something wrong. It's not working for you, right? So that's the key. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to nutrition. It's very simple. You could even have like, even a bit of Greek yogurt, right? Greek yogurt, mix some protein in there. That tastes good, right? Or you could have some berries. Let's say berries are low in sugar, right? So yes, it's carbs, but it's super low in sugar, high in fiber, doesn't generally stimulate appetite like other sugary fruits, right? But ideally you want to be having your meat and eggs, or your even meat and vegetables, whatever that looks like to you, single ingredient foods, at least 30 grams of protein, can't go wrong. Habit 2. Again, very simple, right? To the point where it's like, I feel like a dummy even having to repeat this, but you keep doing it though, right? You keep storing food in your house. You're busy, you work hard, you come home from a long day, right? You get home, you're feeling tired, bored, stressed, or maybe even all of the above, and you open the pantry, and what have you got in there? Treats. And what do? You eat them, and then you feel guilty afterwards, right? And that's going to set you up to fail. You can't eat what you can't see, my friend. Get them out of the house. Get them out of the house, right? Simple as that. That is the biggest thing. People eat way more when they store those foods in the house. Even if I've got things like dark chocolate in the house, I'm going to eat it. I'm going to max out how much I can eat of it, right? And just replace the junk, right? You don't have to have no food there to eat, right? If you get home and you're emotional eating anyway, right? If you get home and you've already eaten, and you get home and you're stressed and stuff, replace it for some fruit, right? Have a shake or something instead, right? If you're actually hungry, if it's true hunger, right? So that's key, very simple, but you're always going to fail. And what I've said to clients in the past is I've actually given them permission. So I've said, and you can do this yourself, right? Not if you've got a superstore nearby, though, this doesn't work. If it's at least, say, a 15-minute walk away, right? That's actually great, because if you're going to walk, that's fantastic, right? So if you have to walk to the store at least, say, 15 minutes each way, then this works. Or you have to drive, right? And what I've said to clients before, I've said, right, okay, if you're hungry, go to the shop and get it. That's fine. And don't get you're allowed to have, like, let's say you're going to get, I don't know, you want a cookie. Yeah, go and get like, okay, forget about cookie. Let's say you want to get ice cream. Yeah, get one little small ice cream, not a tub of Ben and Jerry's, right? So you're getting a small amount, so you're not taking the piss. And, 70, 80% of the time, even more than that, they wouldn't even bother, because you place that barrier in the way, right? And you're more mindful and aware of it then as well, because you're actually actively going to do it. So either way, you're going to get that awareness, and you're gonna overcome that habit, because you'll eat thousands of calories more, each month or whatever from doing that. The other one, I talk about this all the time, right? And it's lift weights over cardio, right? And I keep talking about this time and time again. Talked about on the last solo episode. Now, I'm not anti-cardio. Yes, cardio can be good for your health, is good for your health, right? Because VO2 max, your cardiorespiratory capacity, in other words, how fit you are, is important for longevity. But when it comes to your metabolism, to fat loss in 2025, make strength training the cornerstone of what you're doing, right? So if you're not making that a top priority, strength training, you will never get to the point where you've got a good amount of muscle mass, where your metabolism is firing at all cylinders, and you look in the shape of your life aesthetically. Because when you just add a little bit of muscle to your body, and by the way, it doesn't happen fast, right? It's a slow process building muscle. It's dense, right? It's dense tissue. So you look tighter and more kind of sculpted and better when you do that. And also, as I've mentioned before, muscle is the longevity organ, right? And when it comes to heart health, muscle strength training is more effective than cardio for heart health. So a big study showed that there's two different types of fat that build up around the heart. Strength training is the only type of exercise which actually reduces both types of fat around the heart, whereas cardio only reduces one type of the fat, right? So it gives you an example for health as well. But literally, if you can ask yourself this question, how can I do as much strength training as possible in 2025 each year? How can I allocate that into my week and maximize strength training and then minimize cardio? Remember, ask yourself this question as well. Do I want to be burning calories for 5% of my day, or do I want to be burning more calories for 5% of my day, or for, 50 to 75% of my day, right? The answer is obvious, right? It's going to be the second answer. And you do that by elevating your metabolism and basically triggering a process called muscle protein synthesis, right? Which is when your metabolism elevates because your body is trying to repair basically the damage, the insult that you put on your body from lifting weights in the gym, right? So use cardio as a tool, right? But if the main driver is to increase your metabolism, is to look good, is to live longer, is to balance out your hormones and level up everything from your health to your physique, then make strength training your priority. And look, it doesn't necessarily have to be, a gym, right? It can be, if you're new to training in particular, it can be body weight training and bands, right? Even if you're not new to training, I had a client recently and we had him doing that for a month. He had tremendous results. So yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. And in terms of equipment, all you need is a couple of dumbbells. If you want to go to the next level, all you need is a couple of adjustable dumbbells. There's so much you can do with those, and you can do slow reps as well, time and attention training. I was going to say I got some workouts on my channel, right? But if you want to drop me a DM anyway, and I can send you over a training program, no problem. In fact, if you haven't, there's actually a training nutrition plan in the show notes as well. Subscribe to my newsletter, my email. You click the link, you put your email in, then you get free resources from me weekly anyway on my emails and really valuable stuff. And you also get a really good training nutrition plan on there as well. So that was number 3. So number 4, right, is not tracking your food, right? That will set you up to fail. Now, the thing is, when it comes to tracking, no one wants to bloody get an app out and track their food for the rest of their life. That should never be the destination, right? The destination should be intuitive eating, being in tune with your body, eating when you're hungry, and it should feel automatic and easy like it does for me, right? It's actually very easy. Now, I still enjoy eating. Every meal I have, I enjoy, but it's almost like when you start driving, right? When you learn to drive a car, if you drive. If you can see me on the YouTube video, I don't know what that was. It looks like I'm on a cross trainer. That's not how I drive, I promise you. But when you're driving, it's very clunky, right? And it's very there's a process to it, right? In terms of forgot it now. It's what is it? Incompetence. What is it? Unconscious incompetence or something like that, right? Is the first stage. And when you're driving and you're all over the place and you're thinking about everything, and then after a while it just becomes automatic, right? You're in the car and you're just driving and you're not really thinking about it. It feels easy. You're looking in the, hopefully you're looking in the rear view mirror. You're looking around, so you're making sure you're not crashing and you're still on the ball. But it becomes second nature, right? And it's the same as when it comes to nutrition. Look, ladies and gents, you know my story, right? I used to struggle with binge eating. I've struggled there more than most people listening to this. And it took me, I would say I'm a black belt now when it comes to behaviors with food, knowledge on nutrition. And it took me a long time to get there, just like it would take anyone a long time to get to a black belt in a martial art, right? Doesn't happen overnight, but you can get there, but you'll never get there if you decide not to track. Oh, that didn't work for me. Okay, you're making excuses, right? If we're honest, you need to track because you'll eat 30% less on average, well, minimum 30% less. And you're going to get awareness. This is what I love about tracking as well. It's not just the calories. Yes, calories, macros, understanding how much protein you're eating. That within itself, to shine a light on how much protein you're eating consistently is a game changer because people track and then they track for a whole week. And what they notice is, oh, okay, in the week, I'm a little bit tighter because I'm eating more protein. I got my meals prepped. Get to the weekend, they grossly undereat protein. And then what they notice is naturally we want to replace those calories. They start eating more fat and sugar, like a few snacks here and there. And they calculate that into the app. And they're like, oh my God, did not realize I was eating that much, right? So it's literally for the whole year, you could be, let's just say for the month of January, or you'd probably be better in January. But in general, a lot of people in the week, they'll eat decent. And then the weekend, they'll just slip and they'll let their hair down and they've canceled out all their hard work, right? And then they're just spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. And if anything, you're getting fatter, right? Because the effect on the metabolism adapts, right? And becomes more efficient with calories. So ultimately, it's to create awareness. As I say, it's not forever. It's a tool. It's 5 minutes out of your day. And it's something that needs to be done, right? You need to shine a light on what you're doing, right? The first step in any area of life, if you want to get to the point where it's mastery, right? Like me now, it's easy. And by the way, like I said, I tracked for 6 years, ladies and gents, right? I wouldn't tell you to do anything I haven't done myself. I tracked for 6 years on and off. And even now, if I wanted to get, this is not going to happen. Trust me, I'm not going to do another bodybuilding comp. Or if I wanted to do a photo shoot and get razor sharp shredded and come down even lower body fat than I am now, then I would definitely go back to tracking. And what blows my mind is even the level I'm at now at black belt, right? I'm probably about 400 to 500 calories out, right? When I go back to tracking. I tracked this year, actually, for the first time in a while, for a good kind of 2 months. And for that first week, I was like, this happens every time. I can't believe it. I'm actually eating 500 calories more than what I thought I was before I was tracking. And as a side effect, I did a podcast on it, right? Last year. I lost fat and that wasn't my goal, right? So that's it. The last one, last but not least, ladies and gents, right, is sloppy sleep routine, right? So if you are on your phone, right, blue light increases cortisol. It's a stress hormone you do not want high amounts of before you go to bed. Life's hard enough. Most people are checking emails. Most people are stressed, right? Staring at that phone and checking emails till you go to bed, it will have a negative impact on melatonin levels, right? So when cortisol's up, melatonin's down. Melatonin's a sleep-induced hormone, right? And even one night of poor sleep increases cravings. It drops a hormone called leptin. Leptin is the satiety hormone. It tells you when you're full, when to stop eating. That drops drastically. And ghrelin increases. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone, which tells you to eat more. That increases, right? And even if you're listening to this and you go, Matt, like I stay on my phone till late and I sleep great. You don't, right? Again, you haven't tracked it. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to look down on you. Maybe you're an anomaly and you sleep amazing, but you don't know, right? Because it's one of those, you're probably not tracking it, right? I've tracked my sleep for 4 years, right? There's a lot of nuance to it. You think you're sleeping, you're not sleeping. I thought I was sleeping for 8 hours. I was sleeping for 7 because there's an hour you're awake, you're not even aware of, right? Because you're semi-conscious or unconscious, right? So it's very complex with sleep. So, don't be one of those people where you neglect it. That's what most people do. I really want you to focus on this going into this year because so many people, they want to skip the most important thing, which is optimizing sleep. And I would argue it's actually the hardest thing because I still struggle with this, to put that phone away before bedtime. Now, there's a 3-2-1 method. I'm not going to share this with you because Dr. Stephen Cabral on the next podcast breaks this down, right? But long story short, if you are on your phone till late, till you go to bed, you are or watching TV or on your laptop, or you're eating food within 3 hours before bedtime, or you're drinking alcohol in the evenings, right? This is going to have the biggest negative impact on your results over the space of 2025. Now, it's not about being perfect, but put that phone away, right? At least an hour before bed, ideally, right? Even if you're going on your phone right till bedtime right now, right till you go to sleep, even 30 minutes is going to be a win, right? It's a good practice. I now keep my phone out of the room, and I use the 8 Sleep, right, which has a vibration alarm on it, right? Which, the 8 Sleep thing that cools my bed down. So that's my alarm, right? But you can get an old cheap alarm and that will do the trick, right? So just don't overlook sleep. Prioritize that this year, right? And your whole life will improve. It's literally like running on, in terms of the effect on your metabolism as well. If you optimize your sleep and you get a good quality, 7 to 8 hours, good quality, no blue light, wind down before bed, turn the salt lamps on. That's what I've got. Red salt lamps. Red light's good, blue light's bad for sleep, right? And really make that a practice, right? And if you do that consistently for even a month, where you have a proper bedtime routine, you dim the lights down, come away from the phone, stop eating at least 3 hours before bed, you will notice that you probably sleep better. And then if you ever stop doing that, even for one night, then you'll notice a negative impact. And that's how you really end up making permanent change with habits, is when you stop doing something, you realize how good you felt when you were being disciplined with that particular habit. So anyway, I want to wrap this up here, right? So I'm going to summarize some of the key takeaways, right? You've got 5 habits. They're simple, but they make all the difference when it comes to fat loss, overall health, and even if you're looking to build muscle, right? Or whatever you're looking to do with your body this year, it's all relevant, right? Start small. Like I say, focus on 1 or 2 of these and watch how much easier fat loss, health, fitness goals become in 2025, right? So don't forget anyway, free metabolic assessment. Don't miss it. If you heard it at the start and thought I'll do it later, do it now. Now's another chance. They get filled out literally rapidly. So just do it as quick as you can if you're going to do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, my friend. So look, I really need you to help me. Okay. I need you to give me a rating, right? So if you're listening to this on Spotify, just simply go to the star rating and give me a rating. That's all I ask. If you're listening on Apple iTunes, give me a rating and review on there, because I really want to get this podcast growing at a decent rate on YouTube. We want to grow it faster now and get more people seeing this on the podcast format, right? So please go ahead and do that. Give it a share with the friends. And I'd love to connect with you as well, right? So drop me a DM on Instagram if you want to give me any feedback on the podcast at Martin Silva Fitness. Thanks.